All right, so we continue. All right, so growing up, what did your parents? I know I'm laughing. So, what did your parents or family members say about your future that either inspired you or perhaps created pressure? How did those early expectations shape your path?
Well, like I said earlier, I never really knew that my mother was depressed until a year or so before she died. Right? Because I just noticed that I grew up with a mother that was completely detached from us. But we just assumed that life was like that. Right?
Okay.
So her influence on me wasn't really much. Direct influence. Now, she was a lovely mother. She was nice, right? And days that I'm at home and I see 2 pieces of meat, I know that it's my birthday, right? So it was like that. But I knew that when I grew up was when I knew that there were challenges and she probably was going through her own phase.
What was it? Oh no.
I didn't know then. But sincerely, I mean, I'll give you a typical example. When I got to the equivalent of SS3 now, then it used to be class 5.
Yeah.
My mother didn't know that I was doing physics, chemistry, biology. She didn't know that I'd collected money and the money I collected was for JAMB.
Oh my God, that was a serious one.
She didn't know that I was going to pick engineering. For me too, I didn't know that which engineer. I knew I was going to be an engineer, but I didn't know which engineering. I was very good in biology, so the desire to read medicine was there, but I was very afraid of blood. And like I said, I grew up in the hospital environment. So when accidents occur, I saw a lot. And I'd made up my mind I was not going to study medicine. Even though I was the best student.
Science
right?
wise?
No, in biology.
Oh.
In biology and chemistry, I was the best.
Oh.
Right? So I just took a coin and flipped it. Electrical, mechanical, heads and tail. So,
are you serious?
So, mechanical one, did again, civil, right? I kept flipping until chemical engineering trumped them all. And I was happy because I loved chemistry anyway. So that's how I did JAMB. And I did chemical engineering. And I picked University of Lagos. Picked also from flipping coins. And the fact that my friends, I have 2 very close friends. We're still very close till now. They chose Unilag. So when I flipped and they picked Unilag, I just said, oh, lovely. We are all going to Unilag.
So the 3 of you went to Unilag?
Yes.
Wow. Would you say that decisions were as a result of luck? Or was it like it was God's hand in the moment of your
Sincerely, I think that God was the one orchestrating things. Even though I felt that I was just...
your pain.
Yes, I believe that God was orchestrating things. Right?
All on it.
Because those 2 friends I have,
Yeah.
we've been staying together, or we stayed together from secondary school up until university, up until our graduation. One of them got a job at Anderson then and was posted abroad. The remaining one, we stayed together up until when we got married. It was marriage that now caused us to hire different houses. And we are still best of friends till today.
Wow, this is amazing. Wow, very amazing. What a life.
Yes, so.
What a life.
Yes, so.
All right, so we'll move on to the next journey that has to do with your education.
Okay.
So before we get to that journey, right, if you're in this conversation, don't forget to subscribe, like, share, listen, and then comment. And in case you know someone who might need this, don't forget to share. Really. So we move on. Right, so we move to get to know more about your educational background and how this chemistry thing that you finally did that took you from, just drawing or toying a coin into Unilag, and then how this whole thing unfolded at the end of the day. So you study chemical engineering, a field that requires precision, logic, and systematic thinking. How did you reconcile the analytical mind of an engineer with faith-based decisions you were making in your life also? How did you reconcile these two phases of your life? Because it's very, you know what I mean by...
No, I get.
Yes.
I'll give you a background, and or maybe I should just keep the background.
No, don't keep the background. Anything that will help us travel deeper.
Well, I entered into Unilag as one of the best students that graduated in my former school. I went to Christ School at Ekiti. But when I got to Unilag, I told you how I picked chemical engineering. All of us, the three of us, picked engineering. One did civil, one did mechanical. I did chemical. But when we got into university, then, if you make a first class, the university would not let you go, expects you to do an MPhil, and you become a lecturer. And I didn't want to be a lecturer. If you make a 2-2 or 2-1 or 2-2, the chance, because oil companies used to come then to employ students. So if you make a 2-1 and 2-2, oil companies or the likes of Lever Brothers and co will come and employ you. So we just I made up my mind that, look, I'm not making a first class. I'm not going to be a lecturer. Right? So I started playing until when SAP started and things changed in Nigeria. And by then, oil companies were only employing people that made first class. So I was just caught up in the middle of nowhere. I got frustrated at the time, and I'm glad I was frustrated because that frustration led me to accepting Christ probably in my year 4 in the university. Right? But then we just accepted Christ not knowing the total meaning. Yeah. Although again, I'll say that I'd accepted Christ when I was much younger. I mean, our interactions with the fellowship that Pa Elton had, right? But when we entered school, we took that life back and continued just generally having fun in uni until year 4, when I knew what it meant to be born again and I gave my life to Christ. Even at that, I was still playing. Now, when I finished uni and was posted to Sokoto for NYSC, I felt bad because all of us graduated and we wanted to stay either in Lagos or Port Harcourt or Warri, where you had oil companies. Yeah. But I was posted to Sokoto, and then they had started drumming into us that God has a purpose for you. God has a purpose for you.
In the preachings we are listening to right now.
Yes. So eventually I now decided that I'll go to Sokoto, but honestly I cried when I made that decision to go.
But you made it yourself?
Yes.
So why did you not cry about it?
Because I felt that God was making me do what I did.
All right.
Right?
So
Whether it is true, I don't
know. All right. So you
So-
took that decision.
So I took the decision, I went, but I can tell you that that NYSC year was a defining year for me as a Christian. Right?
Why? How? Was there a pivotal moment?
Well, there was a
So you have that
pivotal moment. I was invited to fellowship, Corpus Fellowship. I started going. It was boring, right? I mean, being in Sokoto, so the only thing I had was that fellowship. And it was stressful. So the only activity that was less stressful was that fellowship. Fellowship holds normally at, I think, 7 to 8, thereabout. So there was this particular day. I've even forgotten the name they called them. The military people, the most senior military person in camp, I forgot. Camp commandant.
Okay.
Now called for a meeting at 7 o'clock in the evening. And I felt headstrong. That I wake up 5 o'clock in the morning, you stress me all day, right? The only time I have is after 6 o'clock, and you still want to take my 7 o'clock. So I made up my mind I was not going. Right? I went for fellowship. The next day they called us, people that did not attend, and they lashed us with koboko.
What?
But I was happy. I was really happy. And I think one of the things that made me happy is that, maybe it's true or not, I felt that I suffered for Christ. And I told myself that I have to take this Christ seriously if I have suffered for him, taking koboko on his behalf. But we were all children then.
Yeah.
But that was the
That's
defining moment. Now, when I finished, I stayed back in Sokoto.
Okay.
Coming back to the south was a bit challenging, but everybody wants to come back to the south, right? Because, I mean, like you have Boko Haram now, we had Maitasini then, and we were always on that threat. But again, like you said, what was the question again? Where faith
Yes.
and
Yes.
development
Yes,
clashed.
clashed.
So, every Southerner was looking for an opportunity to come back to the South. But there was a fellowship we had that I attended, which was an Ekwa church.
Okay. Ekwa.
In Ekwa, women and men sit separately, and you don't clap, you don't dance.
That must be a very boring church. Sorry.
So, when we got into that church,
Yeah.
the English service, we transformed it. Men and women sat together, we clapped, we played drums. So the pastor decided that, look, I can't cope with this anymore. Applied to be transferred. So we took charge of church. They posted another pastor, came in and realized that, these people, I can't cope with them, right? And they already have presence and influence. We speak in tongues, we do all that. In Ekwa church, he applied to be transferred again. So all the people that were posted then always applied to transfer. So they stopped sending people and we took charge of church. So even though it was Ekwa church, it was a Pentecostal church. Now, first year, we worked as a team. Second year, a lot of responsibility fell on me. I think I can't remember whether it was the third year that I now took charge completely. But then we were still struggling to get an opening to come back for work in Lagos.
Okay. Even while you were doing all that. Okay.
Or at least I knew I didn't want to lecture because I was lecturing in the Polytechnic, Brennan KB. It's now a university. So I applied for a job. I saw an advert, Sokoto Cement Company. I applied for the job. Went to drop my application. They told me I shouldn't waste my time, that it's only people that have senior allergies as godfathers. So I told them that they don't know my godfather, and I'm not ready to mention his name. So they said, okay. Eventually, they called me for interview. I went for the interview. I was one of the best applicants, so they took me in. But when I saw the letter, I had a lot of disturbance in my soul. I didn't have peace. And what was the reason? My ministry was basically in Sokoto, you had a lot of policemen, right, that came from Benue, from the Middle Belt.
Yeah.
So my responsibility and ministry was directly to those people and their family. So I just asked myself that if I now leave Ekwa Church and go to Sokoto, right, to work in that company, because I was in Brinin KB, that who will now follow up all these souls? So that became a very major burden. I started to pray, fast, and you name it. One day I just read the scripture. I think it's Philippians 1:29. He said, "It's appointed unto you not only to believe in Christ, but also to suffer for him."